I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. So hard to find, it's the real damn thing. Don't be wasting any time, I got somewhere to be. Always on the grind, yeah, you know me. Hold the crown will be mine, you can call me king. A matter of time for you all love me. Finally at my prime, right where I wanna be. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me.
Put my money where my mouth is, I'ma get it now, kid. Heard around town, this sound is astounding. Feel my heart pounding, bass is surrounding. Think I finally found it, so I'm gonna mount it. Like an ex-girlfriend, I'ma get it back. Make a couple racks as I make a couple tracks. Stay on the attack as I'm writing every rap. In a snapback, blacks off this coach and this jack. Man, I feel good, dog, I feel good. Woke up a little richer, also with a little wood. If I could teach this shit, man, really wish I could. So listen up closely, I'll give you a push. I raise hell every time my lyrics pop off. I take shots at the haters with a sawed off. Girl, you better keep me up or I'll nod off. One shot, all I got, I will not stop.
I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. So hard to find, it's the real damn thing. Don't be wasting any time, I got somewhere to be. Always on the grind, yeah, you know me. Hold the crown will be mine, you can call me king. A matter of time for you all love me. Finally at my prime, right where I wanna be. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me.
Yeah, it's not enough, man, I want more. I keep on doing business, open every single door. I wanna be the richest, so you see me up on Forbes. I can do this through my music, that's how I even the score. I don't take it slow, man, I want it bad. Every single day, I'll be carving out a path. Like a girl with a tat on her back, all black. I'ma take her right back to my pad where it's at. I don't ever slack off, so you better back off. I'm about to blast off faster than NASA. Everybody stand up, put your fucking hands up. That's the demand, yup. Welcome to the brand, bruh. No, I'm not cautious, I take risks. And no, you can't stop this, I'm too slick. She knows that she wants it, so come quick, baby, know that I'm on it. I don't quit.
I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. So hard to find, it's the real damn thing. Don't be wasting any time, I got somewhere to be. Always on the grind, yeah, you know me. Hold the crown will be mine, you can call me king. A matter of time for you all love me. Finally at my prime, right where I wanna be. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me.
I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to feed. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact.
Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know
Hello and welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick. I'm just going to turn on this cameras. Oh boy, it is Wicked Wednesday. I have an early premiere to go to. I'm going to be watching the 7 p.m. showing of Wicked for Good. I hope it's good. It should be. Um, I I'm surprised that I'm going to be watching a movie that has a Man of the Year for GQ in it. Spoiler, it's not a man. How can you get Man of the Year for GQ not being a man? Okay, we're going to play the identity politics again. It's always some shit they always try to stir up. GQ's for men, and yet they put a female, ugly picture of her too on the cover. And I'm like, she would have been better off looking like the witch. At least the witch, she looks a little bit more decent than real life. Real life, she looks like a heathen. Bitch looks crazy. I'm rolling me a joint, so I didn't have enough time to do this. I usually would have this done before the show. I don't even have any stories lined up for us to watch. We're just freeballing this one. Okay. Is anyone else going to go watch Wicked? I know I am, because I go watch at the AMC, and I'm a member at the AMC, so I get to watch the movie a day before it comes out. And actually, it gave me 2 days before it came out, because the movie technically comes out Friday, but they have an early release on Thursday. But I got like the super early release for today, and I'm hoping that is a good movie. I have hopes for it to be good. It's a musical, it's a play. How more crazier can it get, right? I mean, as Cynthia Erivo turns into something and starts making out with Andre Grande, maybe that might happen. Maybe they'll just have a makeout session, because they're always constantly holding hands and looking at each other kind of awkwardly. Maybe they'll just tongue each other's throats. Let's turn on my candle here. If it want to turn on, there we go. Let there be lights. All right, let's see who's here. Let's see who is the early bird here. Terry, early bird, what's up? That doesn't sound family friendly. I don't know, man. The Man of the Year. Listen, I'm gonna go watch a movie that has the Man of the Year for GQ. Cynthia Erivo. She won Man of the Year. I don't know if she doesn't go by she. I think she goes by that's her name. I don't know if she identifies like she identifies as a creep for sure. Let me see what's on YouTube. See what the YouTube world is gonna throw at me. But how's your day going, Terry? I'm gonna be on here for about an hour and a half more. Um, I'm trying to be out of here off the show by at least 5:30, so I can get ready and be at my showing. I want to get there at least half an hour early, so that way I can get my popcorn and get my super expensive popcorn and super expensive fountain drink. I usually get me a slushie. Oh Lord, give me 1 second. I am gonna pull out a couple of couple of videos. I already reported on this. Why are they showing me this again? I see Melody King is live. She's been doing a lot more lives. Let's see. Let's see. Anything breaking? Just Three Eye Atlas, I guess. That's all they're talking about. Which is a bunch of nothing because they're not giving out the proper pictures. They're just giving you like pixelated pictures, which is, you know, with all the money they throw to these agencies, they can't fucking have like a telescope that actually can see objects that are coming into our like solar system. I don't understand that, and I will always call bullshit on the government because that's what they are. They're a bunch of full of shits. You know, the Epstein file shit, it continues to go on. It'll be funny that yes, we're gonna release the Epstein files, and then they get all the files, and it's all redacted. It's all black ink. Every single thing is black ink. And say, hey, we said we're gonna release it. We didn't say, you know, how we're gonna release it, but you know, here's a whole bunch of black ink. That's very crazy. Okay, this is interesting. Let me I'm just gonna start pulling up a couple of things for us to watch. So give me a few minutes like that. I'm trying to pull up what's interesting right now. Whatever that YouTube suggests for me to watch. Okay, got that. Let's see. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I guess what they're offering me to watch is like we've seen already, and I don't see anything else like that's any different from what we already have seen. So I did pull up a couple of videos. So give me one up because YouTube always, I don't know, since they did the new change, I'm really not liking it at all. Pause it and it takes like a few seconds for the video to pause and everything low with YouTube lately. I wonder why it's mess up the quality and focus on other things. All right, that's done. Let me see what else we got. Let me see if there's anything else. I'm not seeing the chat room at the moment while I'm trying to pick some videos here. But I'll be back on StreamYard in a sec. I forgot to get me a water. I need to get me a water. Okay, there's nothing there. I think I got something over here. Okay, we got something over here. Come on. So slow, YouTube. My God almighty. Let's close that out. Let's go ahead and come over here. Let's go ahead and close this. I'll tell you, YouTube, man. There has to be people complaining about YouTube. I'm not the only one. I cannot be the only one. Bring this over here. You're relaxing today? Nice. Okay. Okay. All right. I think I got a good little setup for the show for today. There's some add-ons along the way. I don't see anything at the moment, but that's always subject to change. That's very subject to change. Let's see. NASA finally talks about 3-Eye Atlas. Yeah, but they're not saying shit. I wonder how people are going to be making their turkey this year. Which way and how are you going to make your turkey this year? I mean, this year I'm going to a friend's house for Thanksgiving, and she's making the turkey in her smoker. I've never had a smoked turkey before, so it's making me hungry right now, and I need to grab me a bottle of water for sure. But yeah, getting mentally prepared for work tomorrow. Ugh, I know, right? I'm baking like I always do. Okay, cool. Yeah, because there's like all different forms of cooking turkey. So I tend to do the bake way too. I like to bake in the oven, and I put it in like early in the morning. Like sometimes I even put it in before I go to sleep. Because I tend to fall asleep like around 1, 2 in the morning. So I'll put it in the oven at that time, and then when I wake up, dress it up, and then like leave it cooking until and I slow cook it, and then I raise up the temperature when I wake up, and it's always ready by like 10, 11 in the morning. The turkey's ready, and it's like that's the best because I love having early Thanksgiving. I don't like to eat late. I like to eat early, but this year I have my turkey. My turkey's in the freezer. Um, but I think I'm gonna save my turkey probably for Christmas, and it's because like I'm going to my friend's house for Thanksgiving, and she has a huge ass motherfucking turkey, and I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be delicious. And she cooks. When I say she cooks really good, and I'm looking so forward to it. But yeah, there's that deep frying. It could be, yeah, just be careful deep frying if you go that route. Yeah, you don't want to go that route, that deep frying. I'm gonna actually, you know what? Let me bring up a video here. Uh, Maybe the dangers of deep frying your turkey, because that you have to do that shit outside. You cannot do it inside the house, and the trick to it. And a lot of people, this is where they fuck up is you can't like drop the turkey in the oil because that automatically is going to have it erupt. Okay, you have to slowly, little by little, put the turkey in the deep fryer. But the key is slow is better. You don't want to go fast. You don't want to go like and drop it in because it's just gonna erupt. So, and I know a lot of people use peanut oil, and just be careful for those who are allergic to peanut oil. Just and I have family members that are allergic to peanut oil, which is crazy, right? Oh, here it is. I got a video for us to watch. Here we go. Give me 1 second. Set it up. Just gotta make it nice and big. Let's watch.
Thanksgiving is about a week away, and while a deep fried turkey can be delicious, it can also be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. The North Haven Fire Department is providing some crucial safety tips for you. Here's News 8's Brittany Taylor.
The North Haven Fire Department says it happens every year. Turkey fryer fires.
Every Thanksgiving, we get at least a kitchen fire or a turkey fryer incident. Without any doubt, we'll have something this Thanksgiving as well.
Chief Paul Januszewski says one of the biggest problems is people using way too much oil.
The fill line is right here. You wouldn't think that that's necessarily the fill line, because I think naturally you want to fill this up more, but the turkey's going to take up so much space in the pot.
Other common mistakes: using the wrong pot, not waiting until the turkey is completely dry, and throwing it in as opposed to lowering it. It's exactly what ignited a house fire last year.
Individual dropped the turkey inside, and that, of course, splattered the hot grease onto the siding, and it had the house going with fire before we arrived on scene.
And it's not just here. Right across the country, there are fires on Thanksgiving due to people deep frying their turkeys in one of these, leading to an average of 5 deaths, 60 injuries, and $15 million worth of property damage. So here's what to do to avoid a fire.
Make sure they're at least 10 feet away from the house. Make sure that you don't fill it past the fill line. Make sure that you heat your oil to only 375 degrees. And you're using a surface that is non-combustible, a driveway, or something like that. Out on the grass would be fine.
And if those flames spark, Chief Januszewski says don't try to use water. Instead, call 911, and if it's safe, cover the pot with a metal lid, a cookie sheet, or a fire blanket. In North Haven, Brittany Taylor, News 8.
Wow. Yeah, that's a little crazy, right? Just a little crazy for a massive turkey fire. Let's check this one out here. So we're talking about turkeys.
It is time to set the turkey ablaze. So what are we doing?
So we built kind of a reasonable facsimile of a back porch, similar to where people like to hang out, grill, where they use their turkey fryer.
Since the 80s.
To demonstrate some spillover of the oil that you need to keep.
Yeah, I watched Channel 8 and Channel 3.
Before. We've overfilled our turkey fryer. So before we talked about, you need to make sure fill it with water first, put your turkey in.
Yeah, I try to keep it local for us.
Overfilled it on purpose.
Us,
what happens when you do overfill it?
Up here in Connecticut.
Our oil to 400 degrees. That's 50 degrees higher than turkey people recommend you do your safe cooking at.
Okay.
So we have oil that has been heated a little bit more. We have more oil than we need. We've placed it someplace we shouldn't, next to our house.
And we have a frozen turkey, which you said earlier that we should not.
And it is a frozen turkey. And just to make it as complete as possible to real life, we looked up that the average family has a 15-pound Thanksgiving turkey, and that's what we have right here.
Okay.
So
then when we put it in, it's gonna start up, and we're gonna
Nice.
throw water on it first to show.
I've had my
what
family
not
up
to
here
do, right?
forever,
Because
but
if
I
you have a
moved
grease
here
fire, water is not the
20
answer.
no, people's
11.
first instinct is
The end of
water puts
2011.
out fire. Not the case with grease, because if you have a grease fire, even inside the house, if you're cooking bacon or what have you in a frying pan, the water.
I moved here after I had surgery on my neck.
Or it'll turn to steam and it'll make the grease spatter, which can actually cause the fire to spread. So we're hoping to show what happens.
And I like
and what
Connecticut.
not to do.
You know, I like the Four Seasons.
Grease fire with a bottle of water in this case.
Perfect. So the answer is call 911.
Call 911. If it's a small, not with our turkey fryer example here, but if you're able to in the house, put a lid on the grease fire, just turn the burner off, go ahead and call 911. That's kind of the best thing you can do. That's also the safest thing. If it can't happen that way, then just get out of the house and call 911. Make sure your family's safe.
Perfect. Well, let's light it up. Perfect.
And here's our turkey.
You're gonna put the turkey all wrapped up?
Oh man.
Of course it's gonna blow up. You put it with all the wrappings and everything. Who cooks their turkey that way?
That went up a lot faster than I thought it was going to.
Mm-hmm.
And the water did not help.
So you can see
it's cooking.
It curled up our siding here.
Oh yeah, it ruined the siding. It potentially could have even caught the whole deck.
Once the oil gets on there and soaked in.
Yeah.
Again, this got rained on, so we were trying to do like a dry deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
So don't put it too close to the house. Don't put it on anything wood, and don't overheat it. Don't cook it frozen.
Wow.
And don't add water.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sometimes we have people who've had carbon monoxide incidents.
Yeah, they are.
Fires.
They're demonstrating what
what
not to do,
they're
but
still just kind of warm. They need to be. If you
don't
can
put your
palm
turkey
on it,
all
it's
wrapped
cold,
up
then it's cold
in the
enough.
oil.
I hope you've gotten some great information and some really good fire safety tips. Have a wonderful, safe holiday season as you are cooking your turkeys and setting up all of your holiday decorations. We thank the Champaign County Fire Department for helping us do this demonstration and share this information with you. And if you would like to watch this segment again, you can visit us on the web at ciliving.tv after the show.
Yay. Okay, let's go ahead and get out of here. Bring it back to me. Yeah, just listen. That was a horrible example, okay? Because who the fuck is gonna put their turkey all wrapped with the plastic that it came in and dunk it into hot oil to cook? That wasn't a good example. They should have at least taken it out of the plastic and stuff and then rigged it in a certain way to put it into the hot oil and show a better example. I mean, that example was like so horrible. I was like, yeah, don't encourage people to because people would see this and they were like, oh, I didn't know I could cook it with all the plastic and wrapping. Let me try it this year. I'm like, no, you crazy. Don't do that. You're gonna kill yourself. All right, let's see. Let me set up these other videos here. I gotta set them up. Let me see. Is there anything else? Okay, let's go ahead and make this full. Because I didn't have the time to set this up properly, but I'm gonna do it right now. I mean, like my friend, like I said, she's gonna cook it at she has a smoker. She just got a smoker this year. It's a really good smoker. And I was the last time I saw her, I was talking to her. I was like, "So, what are we doing for Thanksgiving?" And so forth. She's like, Rick, I think I want to do the turkey and the smoker. And I'm like, what? I was so excited too. I was like, yes, that sounds like a great idea. And I mean, as it's cooking in the smoker, we can, start prepping and have everything ready. So, yeah, I'm like I said, I'm always looking forward towards Thanksgiving. Many people cook. Many people have a lot of leftovers. It's like I go to people's houses and like, hey, you want a plate? Okay. I remember when I was little, I used to do that. Oh man. Okay, I don't know why my screen is black here. Is my screen black? I don't know what is going on here. You see another StreamYard thing. Yeah, it's not showing my screen. What is going on here? Yeah, no, right? You can't see. Yeah, look, it's a black screen. StreamYard, what am I gonna do with you guys, man? What's happening? All right, let me drop out of here and come back in because StreamYard is just is garbage, man. Straight garbage. Yeah, it went black. Yeah, it makes no sense. So let me drop off and come back on because StreamYard is going through some shit. So let me come right back. All right, I'm back. I'm telling you, StreamYard. It's StreamYard. I plead my case. That's all I can do. There's nothing that I do extra to cause any of that to happen. That's on StreamYard's side. I had to drop off the stream to come back on to reboot it. That's crazy, right, Sari? That's wild. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I gotta restart this. It's okay. Let's go ahead and watch this next segment. What are we watching? Okay, let's go here.
Delegate Stacey Plaskett narrowly avoiding being censured by her House colleagues. This after revelations she texted with Jeffrey Epstein during a 2019 hearing where Michael Cohen was testifying. Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin coming to her defense.
What?
I want to arraign her on some charges based on a newspaper article that she did something lawful. However ill-advised it may have been, she took a phone call from one of her constituents. They want to give them another headline.
Oh, they're calling him a constituent.
They arraigned a Democratic member for taking a phone call from her constituent.
This guy sounds
Jeffrey
stupid.
Epstein in the middle of a hearing. And of course, I don't think there's any rule here against taking phone calls in a hearing.
Who takes a phone call during a hearing?
Comer joining us
that
now.
Makes no sense.
Congressman, your reaction to all this?
Well, I've said many times, Jamie Raskin's full of crap. He's the definition of congressional hypocrisy. Can you imagine if that were Donald Trump or me or some Republican that Raskin doesn't like that was texting with Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex offender who the Democrats have now become obsessed over because they hope and pray that he has something to do with Donald Trump. If we were texting with him during a committee hearing, I mean, it's preposterous. Remember, Jamie Raskin appointed Stacey Plaskett to be on the impeachment, to be an impeachment manager of Donald Trump. And here we find out she was communicating with Jeffrey Epstein in a plot to take down Donald Trump. So for Jamie Raskin to try to defend that on the House floor in front of America is par for the course for Jamie Raskin, but it's the definition of hypocrisy.
And Mr. Chairman, you were part of that committee when all of this is going on. Delegate Plaskett yesterday defending herself, saying this. Listen.
Now, I heard recently from someone that I was seeking advice from him. Let me tell you something. I don't need to get advice.
Now she's going to get all ghetto.
Question anybody from any individual. I have been a lawyer for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
There she is defending herself, Congressman. Is that satisfactory to you?
No.
I mean, again, can you imagine what she would be saying if Donald Trump was communicating with Jeffrey Epstein, trying to answer a question from Stacey Plaskett? I mean, the hypocrisy is in full display here. For the Democrats to go all in over the last month over release the files. I think one reason they were demanding we release the files is they didn't think that President Trump would release the files or that I would subpoena the estate files. What we know about Plaskett and Hakeem Jeffries came from my subpoena of the Epstein estate. And again, the Democrats were demanding that I would do that months ago because they didn't think I would. No one knew what was going to be in the documents. And when we get the documents, lo and behold, there's a bunch of liability for Democrats. And I'm glad that the hypocrisy is on full display, and I don't think those answers are satisfactory.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I want to get to Minority Leader Jeffries in just a second, but specifically with the Plaskett thing, do you see a mixed message here that Democrats have been demanding for accountability, but when it came to holding one of their own accountable, then all of a sudden they had a lack of interest?
Exactly. And look, you know, there's a major player whose name kept popping up in all this new document batch from the Epstein estate, and that's Bill Clinton. But the Democrats haven't said a peep about hearing from Bill Clinton. Remember, you've got two former presidents.
They'll throw him under the bus too.
That, by all accounts, had acquaintances and relationships with Epstein and Maxwell. Now, there's no evidence that shows either one of them has done anything wrong, but the Democrats are obsessed about Donald Trump. He's answered hundreds of questions from reporters about his relationship with Epstein. Bill Clinton's never answered a single question. So we're trying to bring Bill Clinton in now, and the Democrats aren't doing a thing to help us. They just want to attack Trump. I don't believe they care about justice for something damaging about Donald Trump in there.
And we'll see if the former President Clinton decides to sit down for a deposition. But quickly, you did mention Hakeem Jeffries, and your investigation has uncovered a number of emails, one of which appears to suggest that Hakeem Jeffries' campaign was inviting Epstein to a fundraiser. Explain.
Yeah, that was one of the text messages that we found in the 23,000 pages of documents that we released to the public. Hakeem Jeffries' campaign was soliciting donations from Epstein. They called Hakeem Jeffries the Barack of Brooklyn, and that Hakeem Jeffries could have a private meeting with Epstein if Epstein wanted, but they really wanted his full financial support. Now, again, can you imagine if there were a Republican that were, soliciting money from Jeffrey Epstein at a time when he'd already been convicted as being a sex offender? There would be massive outrage. But instead, with Hakeem Jeffries, is like what we're seeing with Stacey Plaskett. The Democrats are defending them. They will defend the indefensible, but go all in on Donald Trump. And again, everything that was disclosed about media tried to make it a big deal. It was nothing that hadn't already been out there, nothing that President Trump hasn't already explained dozens of times to the American people and the national public. This is new information, and the Democrats, they don't even want to inquire about it. They just want to say nothing's wrong here. This is a completely normal text exchange between a convicted sex offender and a member of Congress trying to embarrass the president of the United States. There's nothing wrong with Hakeem Jeffries asking Epstein for money, but the Republicans should pay the price because they're not doing enough to seek justice for this the atrocities of Epstein and Maxwell, and we're going to continue to give the American people full transparency. That's what the Oversight Committee is doing, despite the Democrats' effort to score political points by embarrassing Trump.
Well, the American people want transparency, Mr. Chairman. As you continue to engage, we hope you will continue to come back here and share the very latest with us. Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart.
I mean, the Epstein is such the biggest distraction right now, like humanity is going through. The biggest distraction. I put up some more articles here that I want to go through. I just gotta set them up. So give me 1 second to set this up, because I got some more news for us to watch. I just gotta set everything up. Let's see, put this over here. All right. Give me 1 second for restructuring the show. That's what I'm doing right now. Computer's acting a little weird. I'm not the only one that has been acting, like having computer, like the internet is acting weird. I'm guessing it's the energy, all that energy that we're intaking from the sun. Like, look, the audio's bad now. See, your broadcast has lost connection to your screen share audio. You see, this is what I'm talking about. And where's my phone? Let me take a picture of it, because I'm gonna call these fuckers and tell them, look, man, every single time it's always some bullshit with you guys. Try to run a show and the only thing you're doing is like fucking up the show. Every single time. But at least it gives me a moment so I could resize a lot of these. So give me a sec. because I got to be off of here by at least 5:30 so I could get ready and go see Wicked for good. I hope it's good. I'll let you guys know all the virtual signaling for sure. I'll let you go. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of virtual signaling. The first one did. The first one truly did. It was creepy, but it was good. The music was not, it's kind of like a musical. It's like a musical movie. But I like going to the movies to give my opinion and give my review. Yeah, my local theater, they asked for a review and what I think about it, stuff like that. Actually, let them know how I feel. Okay, let me get this out of here. I'm telling you, StreamYard is fucking up again. They already messed up the show once. Now they're doing it again. But it's okay. We're going to push through. All right. Let's go. Put the sound up.
Shocking video urging members of the military to, quote, refuse illegal orders. But their message could be backfiring with accusations of hypocrisy raining down on the party of no kings. Mike Emanuel has the latest on that. Hey, Mike.
Griff, good morning. Some of the bigger national security names in the Democratic Party put out a video telling our men and women in uniform they can ignore some orders.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
What?
White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller on X writing, quote, Democrat lawmakers are now openly calling for insurrection. Missouri Republican Senator Eric Schmidt saying, quote, at the end of the day, they're mad the American people chose Trump, and now they're calling on the military and intelligence community to intervene. Sounds a little subversive to democracy-ish. Then there's this reaction from Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
Look, Democrats, unfortunately, their base within the government is the deep state. Left-wing partisans who in the first Trump administration,
they want to charge you $1 a month for life insurance.
And that's Democrats calling on the armed services to fight against President Trump, the CIA to fight against President Trump.
Then there's Washington Democrat Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez going after her colleague, Congressman Chuy Garcia of Illinois. Garcia initially filed to run for re-election, but then announced he would retire, ensuring his chief of staff would be the only Democrat on the primary ballot. The effort deeply divided Democrats, accusing Garcia of election subversion.
Therefore, be it resolved that the House of Representatives disapproves of the behavior of the representative from Illinois, Mr. Garcia.
The Congresswoman later admitted she got her
life insurance
ass handed to her by colleagues on the left. Griff?
I wonder what their prices
Mike
are.
Emanuel, live for us in Washington. Mike,
how much they charge?
I'm Steve Ducey.
Monthly.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the.
I wonder how much they charge monthly. Let's see here. All right, let's keep it moving with the news. Set it up here. Let's see, here we go. We are here.
New details emerging about the man who attempted to assassinate President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. The White House says Americans need to know what happened, and so does the president.
There are so many questions out there, and I mean, did he act alone, etc. And it's over a year, it's 16 months now.
For sure.
So
yeah, I mean, those questions are definitely deserving of answers, and I understand why the public wants those answers, and I believe the president does too.
Alexis McAdams live in our New York City newsroom with the very latest on all of this. Alexis?
Hi, John. Yeah, if you can believe it, it's been a year and a half since the president was shot there in Butler. And Thomas Crook's internet history was full of red flags, according to the New York Post. A source saying he posted under his own name about shooting and killing politicians long before investigators say he shot President Trump that day. But the former FBI deputy director didn't say anything about the negative post Crooks wrote about President Trump when he testified in front of us. Watch this.
There were over 700 comments posted from this account. Some of these comments, if ultimately attributable to the shooter, appear to reflect anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes, to espouse political violence, and are described as extreme in nature.
But listen to this. According to the Post source, Crook's online comments show he flipped from pro-Trump to anti-Trump pretty quickly. So he wrote back in 2020 or 2019, rather, that Trump was the literal definition of patriotism. But then just months later, he slammed Trump's supporters, saying they are, quote, too brainwashed to realize how dumb they are. Overall, his online posts show he had an obsession with assassinations, no matter how you slice it, typing up at one point, in my opinion, the only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into an essential building and set it off before anyone sees you. Track down any important people like politicians, military leaders, etc., and try to assassinate them. Those posts reportedly were flagged by other users, John, who actually mentioned the police in their comments. But the question is, did the feds ever follow up here? The New York Post source uncovering also new videos of Crooks practicing his shot. That would-be assassin was dry firing the handgun inside of his bedroom in his parents' house out near Pittsburgh. He has that Marvel thing, too, also on the wall behind him. FBI Director Kash Patel did release a statement saying Crooks planned and conducted this attack alone. But again, today, more growing calls for a new investigation into the Butler shooting, including from the widow of court comparator who was killed, saying, let's just start over and look into this even more, John.
I mean, it really is striking how much was actually out there compared to what we were told about all this. Alexis McAdams, who's been following the story literally since the moment it happened. Thank you, Alexis. Let's bring in former Deputy Assistant Attorney General
Start
John
at
Hughes.
$8 a month
Led to believe, John,
for males aged
that Thomas
35
Crooks
to
was basically
44.
a ghost without any significant online presence.
So what happens if
That's what the
you're
FBI director told us
older?
In
If
terms
you're-
of what we've been able to find so far, a lot of the usual repositories of information have not yielded anything notable in terms of motive or like ideology.
And now we learn a completely different story. I mean, can you wrap your head around why we weren't told about this a long time ago?
John, it's amazing that the FBI missed all this. As your report suggested,
Wow.
This is all out on social media. This is available for people to see. The FBI should be pouring extra resources into this kind of case, not just because someone tried to kill a presidential candidate, that's bad enough, but we're living in a time of increasing political
Former
violence.
president
This is
and
also during the
presidential
time
candidate.
when we had another
Don't
assassination
get it
attempt
twisted.
on President Trump. We had an assassination attempt on a Supreme Court justice just before that, and we had the
45,
murder of Charlie
54,
Kirk.
$14.
after
Damn,
this.
it goes up
So I
the
think
older
the
you get.
FBI
That's
should
fucked
be
up.
pouring more resources,
It should be
not
the other
less,
way around.
into trying to stamp
The young
out this
should pay
kind
more.
of rising political violence that threatens
Oh, the
democracy and that is threatening our elections and our
Damn,
electoral process.
even more
Yeah,
if
as
you're older.
Alexis McAdams was
Get the fuck
pointing
out of here.
there
It
was
should be the
dramatic
other way
turnaround
around.
In Crooks, he went from Trump supporter
It should be
to
$8
rabid
for
Trump
55
opponent.
and up.
Here's what Miranda Devine
And
said
if
about
you're
that.
between 35 and
He
44, it
was
should be fucking
pro-Trump,
$24,
and
you
then in
motherfuckers.
January of 2020, he flipped 180 degrees. Something happened to make him become rabidly anti-Trump. And then suddenly something happened in August of 2020, and he just disappeared online. Very unusual. And then, of course, in July of 2024, he fired off 8 shots from a rooftop at Donald Trump.
So you heard Director Wray, then FBI Director Wray, saying nothing in terms of motive or ideology. I mean, it seemed pretty clear there's a lot out there in terms of motive and ideology.
Sounds like the FBI should be hiring Miranda Devine as one of the investigators because she's getting more to the heart of it than the nation's premier law enforcement agency. If Miranda can find these things online, then the FBI should have had this before her. And maybe it's the case that this is just another piece in what we're seeing with lack of confidence in the FBI, growing public distrust in the FBI, and maybe this is an opportunity for Congress to step in, have its own hearings. As you said, some people have said we should have another second investigation. That's the kind of thing Congress could do. Let Congress interview these witnesses, put the social media up, and do it in a way that the American people are going to trust, because it seems like we can't rely on the FBI to get to the bottom of these things anymore.
John, I want to ask you about the vote that's coming up in Congress, maybe in the next hour or so, on the release of the Epstein files. It has come to light that delegate from the Virgin Islands, Stacey Plaskett, was having an ongoing live text messaging fest with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing in 2019, February.
Now they want to blame it on Trump. Oh, that's Trump's fault.
This occurred just 4 months
you can't come after me.
Epstein was arrested on sex
I could talk to
charges.
Epstein.
But watch this
I'm black.
montage of the timeline as it unfolds in front of you.
Reduce his real estate taxes. I'm sharing with you 2 newspaper articles side by side that are examples of Mr. Trump inflating and deflating his assets, as I said, to suit his finance testimony. As I noted, I'm giving the committee to
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Is Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot.
Yeah, the Democrats, John, are trying to make this all about President Trump. It would seem that the Democrats,
and they don't want to be held accountable.
Summers, they've got more of a problem with their relationship with Epstein than the president does.
What universe am I in?
I think President Trump's made the right call here, and members of the House, to say, let's just put it all out there. At this point, there's so many rumors and scandals around. The best thing for the American people to see is all the evidence. In general, I don't like the idea of law enforcement information being put out there because it might impede future investigations. But in this case, let everyone see. And what we're seeing now is the amount of influence and corruption that this guy Epstein was able to exert on well-known figures, a member of Congress during a hearing. That is incredible. Or the president of Harvard University. I think that's something we need to see more about in the public.
And again, that hearing was in February of 2019. 4 months later, Epstein was arrested.
But she's black. She can't get in trouble, remember. She don't want to be held accountable.
John, always good to catch up with you. Thank you.
You get away with it if you're the blacker you are.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-host, Harris Ball.
That's Emily Campagno. That's my friend now. Yeah, I guess the blacker you are, you think you could get away with it because you can use your skin color, like your pigmentation. It gives you like this upper hand that you cannot be touched. Are you fucking stupid? Like, I don't understand this invasion, right? Like, and not only that, but the hypocrisy, the two faces, the liars of the Democratic Party, and it's just like watching a whole bunch of hypocrites. Like I can't with these people. I don't even. They shouldn't even be sitting in Washington. They shouldn't even be part of any like in the government. You know, they're just not a good party. They're not for the people. They've been infiltrated. Like, we have a really bad infiltration of bad characters in Washington. And not only that, but here in our country with the illegals that are infiltrated in all our systems or throughout the country and eating up all our food and taking up all our resources and skyrocketing our prices on everything. Like, no, we got to get these people out. Like, and then we got to clean up Washington because there's a lot of corrupt people in there that need to be put in jail. Like, we need to start setting a sample. We can't just sit around and just like, oh, let them lie, let them just bury themselves, and nothing's gonna happen to them because they're only gonna get the little, and that's it. They're not gonna get. Then they're not held accountable. It's about time we start putting these motherfuckers in jail. Agree? I mean, get Alcatraz set up already. And we got to send a lot of these fucking, like, crooked, treasonous individuals into Alcatraz. Oh, goodness gracious. What is going on? What universe did I wake up to? It's like I came back alive. You know, I died and came back. And then I'm been brought to this universe of stupidity and no accountability. And it's like everything is like right in front of us. Everything, the truth, they're telling you the truth right in front of you, and yet they're gonna still paint that as like, no, it's okay. I can have a phone and communicate and when I'm doing whatever business for the people, I can use my phone. Okay. You want to play that? Who you were on the phone with? Oh, Epstein. Okay. Right. But you don't want to be held accountable. None of them like to be held accountable. The Democrats, they like to get away with shit, and they don't like to like serve like their time for their fuck ups, and like big time fuck ups that's hurting the American people, and it's costing the American people a lot of money. A lot of these motherfuckers need to be put in jail. They do, man. It's time to set the standard and everyone be held accountable, right? Like no one's above the law, like Letitia James says, right? No one's above the law. And everyone should be held accountable. Make accountability great again. The real MAGA. You can buy that shirt over at TysonDelacruzStore.com. And yeah. Hopefully we'll get Tyson here tomorrow. I have not communicated with him yet. I don't communicate. I just let it happen. I'm a psychic, okay? I just let shit happen. I don't like to pre-plan shit. I'm not one to pre-plan. Look, I made up my mind to go see Wicked yesterday. I'm one. It's like my mind changes constantly. Like if you ask me where I want to eat, I'll pick up like 3, 4, 5 different restaurants and then decide which one. You know, sometimes they'll change on the last minute. I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like eating there. I want to eat over here. That happens all the time, especially me. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, next. Let's watch this.
Now, this members of the House Task Force on the attempted assassination of President Trump say the FBI stonewalled their investigation into attempted assassin Thomas Crooks. New reporting reveals that Crooks' alleged violent digital presence was much greater than we had first been led to believe. Our next guest, though, says the FBI never shared those files with the congressional investigation. Joining me now is Congressman Mike Kelly, chairman of the House Task Force on the attempted assassination.
The enemy is within.
Congressman Kelly,
the enemy is within.
What is your 30,000-foot reaction to the new information that's
telling you, you can't trust
Miranda Devine at
the FBI. You can't trust the CIA.
John,
you can't trust Homeland Security.
We realized we
you
weren't
can't trust
getting
any
any
of them.
help from any of the feds on anything.
They infiltrated those
feds,
departments.
No. But I want one thing that I think that really needs to be
bad
said.
actors have infiltrated.
They knew
the FBI.
The federal agency. They knew for an hour and a half before President Trump came onto that stage that the area was not secure. So they can talk about cell phones, they can talk about drones, they can talk about a bunch of different things that they never talked to us about. But I will tell you this, they knew the area was not secure. They should have held the president up at that time and say, sir, we're not sure it's secure. We don't think you should go out. That's not what they did. They put him out there. And then afterwards, act surprised, like we never knew this was going on. I said, you did know, and you knew an hour and a half ahead of time that the area was not secure. All the rest of it is just talk. Everything is talk. They didn't want to talk to us about anything because they were still conducting their investigation. I think the one thing this proves, John, I'm so tired of hearing about this, but it comes from a movie, A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. I can tell you what the American people can do, they can handle the truth. What they can handle is being stonewalled and being lied to.
Yeah, I can't remember the number of presidential events or campaign events on the presidential trail that I've been to, and I've never seen a rooftop like that left uncovered. Miranda Devine was with us the other day, and she talked about what we were told about Thomas Crooks versus what we know now. Listen to what she said.
We were sort of led to believe that Thomas Crooks was really a ghost, that there was no motive that could be ascertained from his online accounts. And yet a source has provided us with a lot of information from 17 different online accounts that Thomas Crooks had. He was pro-Trump. And then in January of 2020, he flipped 180 degrees.
It would seem that that information would have been pretty easy to dial up by the FBI or other investigators. Why are we hearing about it just now?
Because the choice was made not to disclose it at the time. And we keep in mind now the executive branch and every one of the federal agencies that we're talking about was under a different leader. The president at that time was Joe Biden. They controlled every one of those outfits. So now we're learning things because now it's been brought out into the open. And people say, well, why didn't we know it before? And quite simply because they stonewalled and they didn't let us know about it.
Right. So, I mean, when you take a look at what Miranda has uncovered vis-a-vis messages that were posted online by Thomas Crooks, as we see video of him there practicing shooting, dry firing a weapon in his bedroom. I mean, it's pretty clear that he was once pro-Trump and suddenly somehow changed. This is what he wrote in July of 2019. Trump is the literal definition of patriotism. He also wrote later that year, murder the Democrats, which is the sort of thing that should have flagged somebody. And then in 2020, just 8 months after he wrote what he did about President Trump, he was writing, how can you people, talk about Trump supporters, call others sheep, but you are too brainwashed to realize how dumb you are. I mean, literally, you guys sound like a cult at times. And then he writes, later that same year, in my opinion, the only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into an essential building and set it off before anyone sees you. Track down any important people, politicians / military leaders, etc., and try to assassinate them. I mean, that's the sort of stuff that runs chills down your spine. And yet in this alleged investigation, none of that ever showed up. Were they just trying to play CYA, or did they look at this and say, oh, we don't want that to get out for other reasons?
Well, you'd probably have to ask them directly about that, but don't expect to get an answer. I will tell you this, we're still trying to figure out when President Kennedy was assassinated, a lone shooter in the top of a building with a gun with open sights was able to make that shot. We're never, ever going to get the answers. And because we don't get the answers, people don't trust what the government says to them. I will just say now,
they really wanted to kill Trump that day.
When I talk to people in Secret Service, they are so spot on. If it wasn't for Secret Service
now the Democrats are going to pay for
ones
their
who were on the stage with the president.
This was
that
a
covered him and
dossier.
got him out of trouble. I have so much respect for them. And here's the thing, though. You can't keep stonewalling
people need to be
and then
held
wonder why they
accountable,
don't
man.
believe you. It's never, John. It just doesn't make sense, and you don't have to do that.
You got nicked.
Yeah. I think when you allude to Secret Service, you mean the president's detail, because they definitely leapt into action. But other elements of the Secret Service apparently left things unguarded. I wanted to ask you quickly about this, Congressman, if I could, because this came out today. 6 Democrats who served in the military or the intelligence services in the United States are urging military members not to follow what they say are illegal orders. Listen here.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
It would appear that they were alluded to deployment of the National Guard in various cities across America, the takeout of these drug boats coming out of Venezuela and Colombia. What do you think about that?
Well, I've always felt this. The whole purpose of our military is to protect American citizens. I get confused from time to time whether it's Trump derangement syndrome or people that actually just want to pivot to something else. Look, I haven't seen that. I'm just listening to it now. I know some of those people. I find that kind of strange because I have deep respect for those who serve. But if you serve, most people who serve don't make an issue of things and bring it out in public like that to criticize the president of the United States or whatever it is that they have a problem with. I get that people don't agree with everything, but what I don't understand is this is America. These folks serve the American people, and the American people just went through the last weekend of honoring our veterans Why would you bring out something like that? What purpose does
Because
that?
they're
play into making-
heartless.
You don't have to follow orders. Really? I've never heard that before. And I would tell you, these people all followed orders at one time or another. Why they're doing that now, who would know?
Congressman, thank you for spending time with us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Have a great Thanksgiving.
All right, you too. Thank you, sir. Molly?
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno.
Emily. Yeah, heartless motherfuckers. Heartless. Let's keep it moving.
The UK has confirmed a Russian spy ship is on the edge of UK waters. It's the second time this year Moscow has deployed the vessel close to Britain.
As I speak, a Russian spy ship, the Yantar, is on the edge of UK waters north of Scotland, having entered the UK's wider waters over the last few weeks. This is a vessel designed for gathering intelligence and mapping our undersea cables.
The ship directed lasers at British surveillance aircraft which were deployed to monitor its activity. Rob Powell explains.
John Healey gave a press conference just up the road on number 9 Downing Street in the press briefing room there this morning, ostensibly to talk about new investments, new sites to build munitions. But right at the top of that briefing, gave us this news about this Russian spy ship that he said had been detected off the north of British waters, off Scotland. It has gone in and out of British waters over the last fortnight. And I think, interestingly, he also revealed that when a surveillance plane was sent to shadow it, to watch what it was doing, the Yantar used a laser and directed it towards the pilots. Now, that is something that sources say is the first time they have known a Russian vessel to do this, to react in this way when UK planes have been sent to monitor it. And they say it's something that is very dangerous. They said also the plane was using infrared photography to essentially look inside the Yantar spy ship, because the reason that gets put out usually by the Russians when the UK flags the activities of the Yantar is that this is a sort of innocent fishing vessel or an innocent vessel. They are saying that, you know, we know what they're up to because we have these photos of what is actually going on inside. They also said that they had changed the orders of engagement, that actually was changed the last time the Yantar surfaced. The Yantar emerged back in January, that allows UK frigates, UK vessels to get closer towards the Russian ship to shadow it. Interestingly as well, John Healey made pretty clear that if the ship didn't change course, that there would be military options ready as well. But I think what the Defence Secretary usually does in these sorts of circumstances, and we saw it in January, is that they try to get in there first, to essentially say to the Russian president that they know what is going on and to get in ahead of any excuses that come from there. Other than that, the press conference was all about essentially trying to build up the defence capability and industry within the UK again. He's off to Plymouth later this afternoon to open up a new facility down there. It comes on a fairly awkward day, though, because there's a report out from the Defence Select Committee of MPs saying that they don't believe that the UK is able to defend itself. They say a variety of reasons, from a lack of planning, from a lack of capacity in certain areas, to a running down of industry to produce things like arms and equipment that you need in a war. They don't believe that the UK has that capability anymore. John Healey's response was essentially that this was hollowed out under the previous Conservative government, but the Labour at the moment is investing back in defence and is bringing that share of GDP up again. And he was trying to, I think, essentially send a message out before the budget, like next week as well, and say, actually, re-energising this industry will create jobs, and that will be good for growth as well.
Interesting. Keep it moving. Liberal hive mind.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. You know, it's exactly like I've been saying, it's the new Democrat coalition. You know, the Democrat Party used to be the party of the white working class, but now it's a different coalition entirely. It's a mix of the SSRI cat lady, then of course the chronically dependent, and the last demographic isn't even really an American demographic, at least not in the traditional sense, because, well, it's the illegal migrant. Yeah, that's the whole freaking game. Building dependency. And of course, when you've run out of welfare queens, well, then I guess you just start looking out of country and just creating new dependents. They talk a big game about compassion and humanity and welcoming the stranger. But of course, in practice, what they're actually doing is a whole lot more pernicious. They are structuring an entire permanent political underclass that will essentially do their bidding. And they don't care what kind of social harms it creates. They don't care about the poverty, overcrowded shelters, programs and services being overloaded, child labor, children sleeping on the streets. No, they don't care about any of it. In fact, they do care, but it's a little bit backwards. No, the misery they create, of course, is part of the Democrat mechanism. The worse things get, the easier it is to run guilt campaigns on normal Americans who essentially fall for the scam and enable the scam. This is the immigration strategy of the modern Democrat Party, and I got one clip that I think exposes the entire grift. This is what's really going on in New York City. This is what Zoran Mamdani and other woke mayors like him are fighting desperately for. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so I got this clip here. We got this guy in New York City, and he's interviewing this woman on the streets. She's an illegal migrant. She gives details on her living conditions, how she's begging on the streets and bouncing around shelters. And nowadays, when you say shelters for illegal migrants in New York City, you're probably talking about a hotel that's essentially been converted into a shelter using taxpayer dollars to sustain the entire project. But anyways, just take a look.
¿Qué opinas de que ganó Mandani?
Yo quería que gane él y gracias a Dios ganó él. Entonces yo, lo que me ha gustado de ese candidato, que escuché que iba a ayudar con el arriendo de los hogares. Entonces,
how come you're not getting help into a shelter? Are you receiving any help?
sí, yo vivo en un Chester. Yo vivo en un Chester y yo estoy acá cerca. Si no es que lo que pasa es que en el Chester hay algunas veces que dan comida fría y hay algunas veces, ocasiones que dan la comida caliente, lo cual yo tengo 2 menores hijos que están ahorita en la escuela y ellos son los que no quieren comer la comida. Estoy sentada ahorita y tratando de vender algunas golosinas para yo poder comprarle la comida a mis niños.
Ask her how much money she makes out here when she's out here for 5 hours.
En mi hogar somos 3 niños y 2 adultos, que somos mamá y papá. Yo recolecto para mis niños unos $30, máximo $40 a lo mucho y me retiro.
En 2 horas.
En 2 horas.
Do you want to become a citizen?
Sí.
When you become a citizen, do you think you will vote more for Republicans or Democrats?
En eso sí, creo que es en el demo. Yo recién llevo 1 año aquí, pero verdaderamente doy gracias más al Señor que me hizo entrar por frontera, que es Joe Biden.
And there she is. She basically spills the beans. Of course, unknowingly, she's not aware of the political conversation at large. And that's what makes these street interviews with regular people so immensely valuable. She basically says the quiet part out loud, the part that Democrats will never admit. Her entire American existence and her pathway into the country, well, it's being fully enabled by the Democrat political apparatus. And she even says it outright that she likes Zoran Mamdani. She likes the Democrat Party. If she could vote, she would vote for the Democrat Party. She also mentions how her kids are going to school, but on the weekend, she takes the kids on the street with her. I'm assuming it increases the conversion rate when you're begging for money on the streets. And this right here is the Democrat strategy in a nutshell. They created this exact scenario purposely. They built the incentives. You cross the border illegally, you get to go to New York, you get your kids going into schools, you'll have a bed and a shelter,
Crazy.
You'll get food, you'll get the basics taken care of. And so, of course, people are willing to uproot their entire lives and go live on the streets in New York City just to get their foot in the door. And a lot of the times it's not for them. No, they're playing the system. It's their kids that become anchor babies. They're kids that are protected by DACA, that get to go to school and be fully embedded into the system. If the child is born on American soil, then suddenly a new American citizen is born. Anchor babies. It creates a legal link. And on top of that, you got the whole stack of benefits
They gotta get
that are
them out.
piling on, especially on a state level and mostly subsidized by federal tax dollars that are coming in for these programs. And so when you have that whole scenario, well, you know exactly how this story ends, right? These families will be loyal forever to the Democrat Party, the party that blocked deportations, that wrote the sanctuary city policies, that demonized and attacked ICE. And of course, there's a propaganda play here as well. You see these situations of people living on the streets and it pulls at your heartstrings. Nobody likes hearing about kids living on the streets, but that in fact is the point. This isn't some natural strategy. The whole thing is orchestrated and set up. And you see it on the surface. Sometimes children hustling on subways or selling stuff on the streets. And you might think to yourself, wow, they're literally on the streets in America. That's just crazy to think that this is a family, almost like a scene you'd see in a third world country, living on the streets. But many times they're going back to a shelter. They're hopping in a car and going to a home. Their lives are propped up and taken care of by the generous American welfare system. But regardless, it's the optics that really hits your heart. And that is purposeful. Democrats are willing to create an entire subclass of people that are living an unjustifiably low standard of living, or you might perceive that upon first glance. They got no papers, no language skills. There's no real pathway for them to thrive, and so they're simply surviving as part of a permanent, illegitimate underclass. But then Democrats get to flip it and weaponize that suffering and the optics that you see on the streets here to use that essentially as emotional fuel to justify the exact same policies that are causing it and enabling it. They create these situations, then point and say, look at this mom living in a shelter. Look at the kids. If you send them back home, you are a racist monster. They essentially create the problem and then point at the problem and use it to morally blackmail you into supporting their long-term political agenda. And that's why you ought to be scared of, because guess what happens if Democrats decide to nuke the filibuster? If they regain control here, if they stack the Supreme Court, make DC and Puerto Rico a state, what's going to happen? Are they going to grant mass asylum to all illegals? At that point, the country is lost. There is no more America. Officially, America will become what is known as a post-national state. And so you think you're voting for compassion, but really you're voting for a totally subversive agenda. And it's not just the sob stories. That's not the only point of hypocrisy. It's also the economics of it as well, because the whole pitch is that it's better for you, right? You can't exist without illegal migration. But that's just the system that they've created. Across the Western world, the agenda is the exact same. Stagnating governments, self-flagellating countries, high taxes, destroying your own industries, shipping away all your jobs in manufacturing. The opposite of a productive, strong economy, but it's essentially by design. Destroy your productive economy and then replace it with population growth and mass importation of cheap labor. It's a trick. That's exactly what Joe Biden was doing throughout the 4 years of his administration.
I wasn't skeptical of it, but I had to think on it for a minute. I was like, I never thought about that mass wave of 20 million people flooding in, being given all kinds of support. But I was shocked to find in the case of PrimaLend that they were lending to people without social security numbers or any credit history.
Correct. And I'm sure we're going to find that out also in the housing market. There probably some homes bought by illegals with no credit, nothing. You got to remember that, when you bring 20 million people in, it's a lot of people, and it happens super fast. And they were given all sorts of government goodies. And there was an ecosystem around this illegal, logistical, willful operation done by the government. And we were running 8% deficits. So we still don't have a handle on how much of our treasure was given to these people that then they turned around and put back into the economy in the form of grocery spending, goods spending. If you came from Guatemala and you were given a social security number and some handouts and some SNAP benefits and some rental income, any money you got, you immediately spent because you never had money in your life. So the multiplier effect on illegal immigrant is much higher than Joe's six-pack. And, even with all that juice, and we've estimated, between what the government agencies gave directly and what was washed through the NGOs, which is also, we know about the NGOs, that's just a washing mechanism for fraud. We've estimated anywhere from 500 billion to 1.5 trillion was pumped into the economy during the Biden administration.
Bidenomics is working. No, you were getting poorer. Everything was getting worse, but they were able to fudge the job numbers because the population was growing and government was growing. Oh, look at all these illegal jobs and government desk jockey jobs. That's exactly what was going on. Pump the numbers up with bodies, expand the government, and call it growth. Oh, and of course, hope nobody notices because the whole thing's fake. You get the headline GDP, but you also create all kinds of social and economic harms. You're working against the interest of young Americans, and frankly, of the country and the country's cultural cohesion as a whole. And really, that's the story. It's part of a bigger realignment strategy. The Democrat Party is the globalist party that is willing, that is perfectly happy, it seems, to sell out the nation as long as it creates a situation where they essentially get to permanently rule. National identity destroyed, borders, a figment of your imagination. Cultural cohesion, gone. Social trust, evaporated. All of it, gone. You got to see the big picture because the Democrats, they want you focused on the micro rather than the macro. They want you focused on the poor child that's crying on the street, but not the massively corrupt anti-American agenda the real monster that's right behind the curtain. You know, you can feel bad for an individual, but still be able to call the whole thing a scam. Democrats enabled that suffering. You don't have to subsidize it and further enable it. The proper thing to do is to end it. People are taking advantage of birthright citizenship. They're taking advantage of the asylum system, of the American southern border that was simply left open for them to cross without repercussion. And that has to be done. That is the only common sense thing to do if you wish to still have and maintain a nation. Anything else is the death of that nation. And that's what Democrats are trying to usher in. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right, let's keep it moving.
We begin tonight with a story that has stunned the city. Just over 24 hours ago, a woman riding the CTA Blue Line was attacked and she was set on fire. Tonight, police have a person of interest that they're questioning in the case.
This all happened last night in the Loop at the Clark and Lake Station on the Blue Line. Courtney Sisk tonight live at Stroger Hospital where that woman is being treated. How's she doing, Courtney?
Well, Stefan, that 26-year-old woman, she was taken here in critical condition to Stroger Hospital last night. Police say she was on the Blue Line around 9:30 when a man poured a liquid on her and lit her on fire. Now, by noon today, police say they have a person of interest in custody.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
A gruesome attack Monday night on the Blue Line left a young
my
woman
God.
burned and the man accused of attacking her on the loose. Witnesses said the woman collapsed after getting off the train at Clark and Lake.
I was just seeing her lying on the ground and she was kind of hyperventilating.
Oh my God.
You could tell she was really in bad shape.
Less than 24 hours later, Chicago police said they have a person of interest in custody for questioning. Commuters leaving
That's
the
so
Clark and Lake
disturbing.
stop today were stunned to hear what happened.
I'm really shocked that happened for no reason. And then plus, I mean, that's where I live. I'm from the west side of Chicago. So I'm always on the Blue Line. And to think someone would do that, but there's been so much security lately.
Chicago Transit Authority spokespeople told NBC5 CTA has a multi-pronged approach to the security on our system. At its foundation, it is the long-standing and strong partnership with CPD, as well as technologies aimed to deter, be alert about, and investigate crime on the system.
My heart goes out to them. I know how violence can be in this city.
Now, we are still actively trying to find more information about this person of interest that police have in custody. Meanwhile, that victim is here recovering tonight. We'll send it back to you.
That's very And that was in Chicago. That's pretty weird. All right, let's keep it moving.
All right, listen to this. New details in the death of Florida high school cheerleader Anna Kepner, whose body was found on a Carnival cruise ship earlier this month. Court filings now show one of her step-siblings could be criminally charged in connection to her death. The filing revealing Kepner's stepmother was notified through discussions with the FBI that the case could be initiated against one of her minor children as the investigation continues. Criminal defense attorney David Gelman joins me now. David, thanks for joining us. What do you make of these new details?
Carly, this is an absolute bombshell. Look, probable cause here, there's going to be a lot of it. And you got to think about it. When these cruise ships, they're like floating security cameras. They have cameras all over the place. So they have a very good idea about what happened to Miss Kepner. And, you know, these new bombshell revelations that came out through this discovery, it shows that potentially the minor children may be an issue here, and they may be actually suspects, or a suspect, I should say. Now, we don't know. It's very, very early to tell, but that makes a lot more sense because the FBI is saying nothing really to the family, and that would actually play into all this. So it's very interesting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that Anna's father had previously said is that everybody on the ship was questioned, and then everybody on the ship was able to be let go. I'm assuming he's talking about the FBI questioning people on that ship. Does that tell you anything?
Well, I think that's part of the protocol. You know, the FBI, they have to do their due diligence. They have to do their investigation. And just because they interview somebody and let them go, that does not mean they're not a suspect by any means of the imagination. They probably were just starting the investigation, but they have to get all the video, and that's going to be key. You got to see who went into the room, who left the room, when did they go in, when did they get out. So these are things that they had to get their hands on. And then you also got to remember, they have to do an autopsy. And I know that's not available yet, but that's going to be pretty much the end-all be-all of this case. Was there foul play? You got to think there was, because how she was discovered is very, very critical. She was discovered under her bed, wrapped in blankets with life preservers on top of her. That's not a normal, just unknown cause of death. There's something there.
Yeah, that would indicate that somebody would have placed her in that position, right?
That's exactly it. It's not like you're going to just fall asleep like that.
Right.
So I would assume something happened.
And when it comes to timeline, this all took place on the morning of November 7th. The story that we know so far, and we don't know many details, is that the family gathered for breakfast. They didn't know where Anna was, so they began searching the ship. And then it was a maid that found her under a blanket, under a bed, and they found her body, and she was declared dead at around 11 o'clock that morning. When it comes to timeline, does that tell you anything?
Well, I will say it does sound suspicious, doesn't it, Carly? I mean, if a child doesn't show up for breakfast, where's the first thing you're going to look on the cruise ship? You're going to go to her room, right?
The room.
Did they go in there? Did they search it? Because if the maids found her, and it sounds like they found her pretty quickly once they went into the room, that tells me something. Yeah, but the timeline, that is going to be key. But again, this surveillance video that they have on the ship, that is going to show every little thing that the FBI wants. So I have a feeling that we're going to know the suspect probably in the next 24, 48 hours, because the FBI, they really keep these things tight to the vest.
Yeah, and whether it was her bed she was found under or somebody else's, we don't know, but the FBI certainly does now, and that information will likely come out. Also, really quickly, final question to you on this. So this new information about Anna's step-sibling potentially facing charges came out in an unrelated family court matter. What does that mean?
So the mom and stepmom and dad are getting a divorce, from what I understand. And because they are getting a divorce, I guess the children are involved in this. So what they're saying is, look, their children, maybe one or two of the children may be part of this, and they cannot talk. So we cannot talk to you. That's pretty much what they're saying. It's really compelling. And frankly, we probably wouldn't even know about this unless this divorce proceeding even took place.
Well, it is just such a tragic case. A family that has been left broken, and the loss of a beautiful young 18-year-old girl with her whole life ahead of her. David, thank you for joining us this morning.
I'm Steve Ducey.
That's crazy.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here
I
to subscribe to the Fox News.
I would like to go on a cruise, right? Because to get away. But in reality, it seems like those are like death traps. Because you're stuck at sea with thousands of people on a boat. Anything could happen, It seems like I'm surprised there hasn't been more like horror movies on cruise ships. Maybe Scream in a cruise ship or something. And you don't know who's the killer. It could be anybody. It could be any worker. It could be any service person. It could be anyone. There's like secret killers in cruise line. And the fact that these cruise ships, they're loaded with cameras everywhere. They have cameras everywhere. So I'm 100% sure they're going to know who did this. They probably already know who did this. So they're just letting it play out in the media, but they're already about to make their arrest. That's crazy. Just don't take Carnival. No, I wasn't thinking about going on Carnival. Hell no. Those are party ships. I don't want to be in a party ship. I want to be more like Norwegian Cruise Line maybe, or something that's not Carnival. Just because I'm not there for the party atmosphere. I'm more there for the relax and chill and enjoy the food and enjoy the atmosphere, but I'm not into the party shit. I'm not going to no club. I'm not going to no any of that bullshit. I might go to a comedy, they have a comedy club thing. I'll do that, or or a piano bar. That'll be okay, but I'm very slow motion right now. I don't be wanting to hear all this crazy music and people drunk all over the place. I don't that's not fun to me. I like some of new ships. They have like really nice restaurants, and they have like the sushi bar, like really nice sushi bar, and they have like really good food through in the cruise. So for me, it's more like going on the cruise is mostly for the food than it is for the cruise. I mean, the cruise where you're going and destinations that you go that are pretty cool also, but the majority of the time it's mainly for the food, and that's what I feel like. If I do go on a cruise, I just make sure that it's a good cruise that have good restaurants in it and it has a good sushi, and I like seafood, so it's something that I might want to do. Hopefully soon. But not no fucking carnival. I don't want to end up underneath a bed with towels and shit stuff underneath. Like they're not gonna find the body. Like, like it's so weird. Like I would love to see the pictures of the scene of the crime scene. I hope they took pictures before they moved anything. But we'll find out. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch this next. This is about NASA. Okay. See what they got to say.
NASA will be unveiling new images today of the massive comet hurtling through space and defying the scientific odds. Its name is Comet 3I Atlas, and it's just a third known interstellar object.
Kayla, what's up?
And when it was discovered, it was traveling
How
at
you
a
doing,
whopping
Kayla?
137,000 miles per hour. Thankfully, as of right now,
I'm getting ready
there's
to
no
go watch
danger of it
Wicked.
hitting Earth. Joining us now, we're having him back, astrophysicist.
I got one
Avi
more
Loeb.
video
They
to
should
watch,
really name this
and
thing the 3i Avi Loeb,
I'm gonna be
because you've
wrapping
been
up
one
the
of the
show.
most, if not the most, outspoken experts on this thing.
Because
Let's
I
start
have
with the
a
images. What
7
are you
p.m.
expecting these images to
viewing
show?
of Wicked.
Well, thanks for having me.
For good.
The images were taken when 3i Atlas passed closest to Mars back on October 3rd. And the government shutdown prevented NASA from processing those images and releasing them to the public. It would be the highest resolution images we ever had of 3i Atlas, with 30 kilometers per pixel.
I'm still thinking about that
resolution.
damn chicken
I very
parm
much
you
look
guys had
forward
the
to
other
seeing
day.
what these images reveal. And throughout the month of
Thinking about that
October,
chicken
it was
parm.
not possible to observe 3i Atlas from
Sounds
Earth
so
because
good.
the sun was in our way. Now that it came out, it looks quite unusual. It has multiple jets, some pointed towards the sun, some away from the sun. It deviated very little from its original path, and that's good news. It's not heading our way. It will come closest to Earth on December 19th, about a week before the holidays, and we all hope that it will not deliver any unwanted gift.
Sure.
Well, the reason this is getting so much attention is that there has been some conjecture that this could actually be an alien spaceship. That'll wake you up, right? What are the chances of that being the case?
Well, it has 12 anomalies that I described on medium.com. And, these should be explained if we want to believe that it's just a natural comet, an iceberg. However, if it doesn't show any clear evidence for technology, if we don't get a transmission, it doesn't maneuver, we don't see artificial lights, then it's probably just an icy rock that happened to pass by, and we can all go to sleep without any concerns.
Yeah, I have big Christmas plans. I don't need this thing blowing them up literally on December 19th. But what does it say from an astrophysics perspective that this thing remained fully intact after passing as close to the sun as it did?
Well, it's definitely unusual in the sense that the composition is different than we expected. The size is huge, the size of Manhattan Island. And why did we receive such a big package? Over the past decade, the previous interstellar object that came from outside the solar system was just the size of a football field, about 1 million times less massive. And this one also moves along the plane of the planets, which is surprising, 1 in 500 chance. And that raised the suspicion that it may be technological in origin, but so far we haven't seen any clear indication of that. Of course, we have to take it seriously just because the implications would be huge for humanity. And there will be new ones coming along the way, from the Rubin Observatory that was funded by the National Science Foundation, the Department of Energy. It starts operation next month.
Where is it in the sky right now?
Right now, it's about 40 degrees away from the sun, so it's still, quite difficult to look at it because of the sun. But once we get into December, it will be the best time to observe it. And you can buy a telescope online and look at it. And there are many amateur astronomers that release beautiful photographs of it.
Well, you know what they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and we eagerly anticipate the release of these brand new images to figure out just what the heck is floating around in the sky
By the way,
near the sun right now.
This segment was pushed by Big Telescope, the telescope lobby.
That's
what they
not
wanted, John. Avi Loeb, thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank you for joining us.
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to
It's like, what could it be? They're not gonna tell you what the hell it is. They're gonna tell you shit. It's none of your business. They're gonna throw some picture there and they're gonna have you believe it, and that's it. It's like none of our business. And it's just funny how the shutdown lasted all that time, and all that time NASA could have been focusing on this object and taking pictures and so forth, but now they want to blame it on the government being shut down that they weren't able to do their jobs, which just sounds so stupid. It sounds like very, very fucking stupid. But they want you to believe that narrative. But anyhow, this is the last show of the night, and I want to thank everyone for coming through tonight. I truly appreciate it. I am going to go see Wicked, and I'll give my review tomorrow. Maybe while I'm on, hopefully with Tyson, I could give my review, if it's worth watching or not. I think it'll be a great show tomorrow. Stay tuned. I don't know if he'll be here or not. I don't know. I have a feeling, yes. I go with my feelings. And if I don't, I know it's a go. So, but the last has to be Tyson de la Cruz here. So let's go ahead and watch an episode of Tyson de la Cruz.
Who used to be in charge of maintenance for Boston public school buses, is now accused of taking bribes and kickbacks at the expense of city taxpayers.
America, the public school corruption just hit a new low that's going to make your blood boil. Michael Mueller, the man responsible for keeping Boston's 700 plus school buses safe for kids, just got arrested for stealing $870,000 in bribes and kickbacks over 11 years. We're talking about cash payments, a pickup truck, and $85,000 worth of building material for a vacation home in Rhode Island, all while he was supposed to be ensuring that Boston kids had safe transportation to school every day. But here's what's really disgusting. This wasn't just stealing money. This was extorting vendors by threatening to cancel their contracts if they didn't pay him bribes, putting children's safety at risk for personal profit. But here's what nobody's talking about. This is what happens when you have zero accountability in government contracts and taxpayer-funded operations where bureaucrats think they can
Tyson's
do
wearing a green hat.
everything.
How do you know Tyson was going to wear a green hat? I'm going to go see Wicked. at the Emerald City.
Mueller's alleged bribes included cash, checks, building materials for his vacation home.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me.
rocking.
This story shows why we need to audit every single government contract and hold these corrupt officials accountable for stealing from taxpayers and endangering our children. Let me break down just how extensive this corruption was and how it directly impacted the safety of Boston's school children. Michael Mueller worked for a company that maintained about 700 buses for Boston public schools, and he used his position to extort vendors for over a decade.
Had vendors charge more for their services and then took some of the profit for himself, totaling $870,000.
This wasn't just simple theft. This was a systematic scheme where Mueller forced vendors to inflate their invoices and then kick back part of the money back to him. Think about what this means. Taxpayers were paying inflated prices for school bus maintenance while this corrupt official pocketed the difference.
Allegedly solicited and accepted more than $870,000 in bribes and kickbacks from 5 vendors between 2010 and the end of 2021.
This means for over 11 years, the person responsible for ensuring Boston school buses were safe and well maintained was more concerned about lining his own pockets than protecting children. The federal complaint reveals that Mueller's job was to ensure that the Boston public school bus fleet is safe, well maintained, and ready for service on a daily basis.
I'll let you guys know.
Instead, he was running a criminal enterprise.
I don't know if
that
I'll be
broke
back on
profit over
tonight. I'll
children's
probably come
safety.
back on
Here's where the
tonight.
story gets even
I don't
more
know.
infuriating.
I have an appointment
Mueller
early in the
didn't
morning,
just
so I'm
ask for
probably not
bribes.
going to
He
be back on
threatened to
tonight.
cancel vendor contracts if they didn't pay up. This is textbook
But
extortion
tomorrow,
using child safety
if I have
as leverage.
this gentleman
Think
here
about the
with me,
position this put
I'll
vendors
let you
in.
know.
They had legitimate businesses providing necessary services for school bus safety, but they were being extorted by the very official who was supposed to oversee their work. If they didn't pay bribes, their contracts would be canceled and children's safety would be compromised.
And they say over 11 years, he threatened to cancel their contracts if they didn't pay him bribes worth a total of $870,000.
Mueller had complete authority over these vendors. He could fire them at will. This gave him enormous leverage to demand bribes, and he used that power to systematically steal from taxpayers while potentially compromising the safety of the very children that he was supposed to protect. The vendors were doing essential work, cleaning buses, making repairs, plowing snow for storage yards. These are critical safety functions, and Mueller was using them as his personal ATM machine. Now let's talk about the most brazen part of this corruption scheme. Mueller just didn't take cash. He had one vendor buy 85 grand worth of lumber and building materials for a vacation home he had in Rhode Island. The president of the construction company in Norwood, Massachusetts, bought approximately 85 grand in building materials from a lumber company specifically for Mueller's vacation house in Rhode Island. This wasn't just a bribe. This was using taxpayer-funded contracts to renovate a personal property.
Prosecutors detailing that too, saying the bribes included cash, checks, a used pickup truck worth 15 grand, and $85,000 in building materials.
The federal complaint reveals that Mueller tried to conceal his relationship with the president of the construction company by telling the lumber company that he was his uncle, then even used fake addresses to hide the connection. This shows the level of premeditation and deception involved in this particular scheme. Also allegedly required one vendor to hire his adult child. So not only was he stealing money and materials, he was using his position to get jobs for his family members. This is corruption at every single level. Here's how these criminals showed just how arrogant and stupid they really were. Mueller and his co-conspirators were exchanging text messages about their bribe scheme, creating a perfect paper trail for federal prosecutors. The federal complaint includes text messages between Mueller and Vendor 2 that read something like out of a mob movie. Mueller would text asking, "Did the Eagle land?" when he was waiting for payments. The vendor would respond with details about checks cleared and how much money Mueller was going to get. Mueller was so greedy that he would hound vendors as soon as they received payments, demanding to meet immediately when checks cleared so he can collect his cut. He was treating taxpayer-funded contracts like his personal piggy bank. One text message exchange shows Mueller asking, "What time are we going to meet and where? We can meet at Pike's Rest Stop if that works. Are you guys going to pay the whole half or half of what you have? I have today off, and if you want to do some shopping or sooner, that would be great." This guy was so brazen that he was planning shopping trips with stolen taxpayer money and arranging to meet on highway rest stops to collect bribes like he's some kind of drug dealer. The corruption corruption gets even worse when you look at how Mueller conspired with vendors to create complete fake invoices for work that never was performed. This wasn't just inflating real costs, this was outright fraud. Mueller conspired with vendor 3 to invoice the transportation company $189,000 plus for cleaning snow off roofs of school buses, work that was never actually performed. Most of that money went directly to Mueller as a kickback. Mueller also demanded that vendor 4 pay him 5% kickback on all revenues from the transportation company. Sometimes this vendor paid the kickbacks with checks made out to Mueller's landscaping company in exchange for fake invoices for services that were never actually performed. This shows the level of sophistication of this fraud operation. He was creating
big
fake
time fraud.
businesses and fake invoices to launder the stolen money and make it look legitimate. The fact that he was requiring vendors to hire his family members shows this was about more than just money. This was about using his government position to benefit his entire family at the taxpayer expense. Now let's talk about Boston Public Schools' response to this massive corruption scandal. They're trying to claim that they did everything right, but the reality is that they allowed this corruption to continue for over 11 years.
In a statement, BPS says when it became aware of the allegations in 2022, it immediately contacted law enforcement, ensured Mueller's firing, and has fully cooperated with the investigation ever since.
But here's the question. How did this corruption continue for 11 years without anybody noticing?
It says a new bus contract signed in 2023 requires greater transparency and stronger oversight of payments.
That's great, but where was the oversight for the
All right,
previous
Kayla,
11
have a
years
good
when
night.
$870,000 was stolen from taxpayers?
Enjoy your
This
show.
is typical government response. After getting caught in a massive corruption
Great
scandal,
Christmas.
they promised to do better in the future while taking no responsibility for the systematic failures that allowed this corruption to flourish in the first place. Here's where justice finally catches up with these corrupt officials. Mueller is facing serious federal charges that could put him away for decades, and his co-conspirators are also facing significant prison time. Mueller is charged with 5 counts of soliciting and accepting bribes, 5 counts of conspiracy to commit bribery, 5 counts of conspiracy to commit honest service mail fraud, and 4 counts of extortion. These are serious federal charges that carry significant prison time.
A second man, 60-year-old John Colantoni, was also arrested. He, according to prosecutors, was the president and half owner of a small construction company in Norwood.
The owner of the construction company was arrested in Florida and is being brought back to Boston to face charges. He's charged with paying bribes, conspiracy to commit bribery, conspiracy to commit honest service mail fraud, and obstruction of justice. The obstruction charge is particularly interesting because it suggests that this individual tried to cover up the scheme when investigators started asking questions. This shows these criminals knew exactly what they were doing was wrong. America, this Boston school corruption scandal represents everything wrong with government contracting and public sector accountability. For 11 years, Michael Mueller used his position overseeing school bus safety to extort vendors, steal taxpayer money, and potentially compromise the safety of Boston's children. The $870,000 in bribes and kickbacks, fake invoices for work never performed, building materials for vacation homes, jobs for family members. This wasn't just corruption. This was a systematic criminal enterprise operating within our public school system. The fact that this continued for over a decade shows the complete lack of oversight and accountability in government operations in Boston. Where was the supervision? How did nobody notice the person responsible for school bus safety was running a criminal operation?
Wow.
Boston Public Schools can claim they cooperated with the investigation all they want, but they failed in their basic responsibility to protect taxpayer money and ensure children's safety. The new contract requirements for transparency are too little and too late, in my opinion. Mueller and his co-conspirators are facing serious prison time, and they deserve every year that they get. When you steal from taxpayers and potentially endanger children for personal profit, you deserve the full force of federal prosecution. This case should serve as a warning to every government official who thinks they can use their position for personal gain. Federal investigators are watching, and when you get caught stealing from taxpayers, you're going to face real consequences. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comments section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Hey, Tyson Cruz, thank you for that great upload. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot of money. Tyson's been reporting a lot from the Northeast. He's been attacking our area. I feel like friendly fire for my friend reporting up here, up in Boston, the corruption that's been going on there. I know fucking Boston is corrupt, and so is New York. So, and Connecticut too. So, all these states up here are really corrupt, and a lot of sleazy people. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? They're everywhere. The infiltration is here. Like, Judgment Day is coming. We're all gonna be down on our knees one day and be like, "Oh Lord, please forgive us." Like, everyone's gonna be asking for forgiveness, but I'm gonna be forgiving because I'm going to be leaving. I'm gonna start getting ready to go over to watch Wicked tonight. Um, is it gonna be good? I think so. I'm actually watching it in 3D. Oh, yeah, I'm watching it in real 3D. So it gives it another like layer of like experience when it's 3D, and it feels more, I don't know, it feels better when I watch it. And I really like movies in 3D. Um I'm really I hope it has a good ending. Um, I'm hoping, and I think it's gonna be. And I have a good feeling it's gonna be good. The first one I did like. It was pretty good. You know, because I kind of did listen to a lot of musicals when I was growing up, and I've been to plays and stuff, and I've been in plays also when I was growing up. So, and I never went to see Wicked, the Broadway play, because I was always working at the time, and they were in South Florida at one point, and I wanted to go see it, and I couldn't because I was just had too much work to do, and but sometimes I think I'm sure I think Wicked is still in New York and Broadway. I'm not 100% sure. I could find out. Um, would it be something for me to do? I mean, before January, because I'm not going after January. After January 1st, I am not going back to New York. 4 years, they're gonna feel the wrath because I'm not gonna put nothing. I'm just gonna go see the Christmas tree, go to the Rockefeller Center building, and eat a slice of pizza because I like cheese pizza. Who doesn't like fucking New York sliced cheese pizza? I like it. Like, I remember there used to be dollar pizza, but now it's like $2 pizza. So sometimes it's $3 pizza with a drink, which is not bad. I'm like, and it's a big slice. So I'm not really complaining. You know, $3. Here you go. Here's $1. Actually, here's $2 for a tip. You know, but I'm just paying like $3 for a slice, anyways. Actually, like $5 if it's a specialty slice. But yeah, it is what it is. You know, we're living in unique times, and I hope things get better for all of us. Hope things level out, and we all get a chance to recuperate from the Biden years and all this fighting and infighting and a lot of like, I just feel like they're just going around circles and they're just trying to like pin the tail on the donkey. That's what I see. But all right, guys, let me get ready. I'm gonna go see Wicked, and I'll let you guys know tomorrow and what's my reviews on it, and what is it worth going to go see it in 3D. The price for it in 3D is $16 if you're interested. Um, Many theaters may vary in price, but the theater I'm going to is $16 for the 3D. Um, I had a $5 coupon because I collect my points. I go see movies, so I collect points, and I'm a member of AMC, so I had a $5 off. So I applied it to this ticket, so my ticket only cost me $11 for a 3D movie that lasts 2 hours and about 15 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna enjoy it. You guys have a beautiful night, and have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side. And I'll be back on here hopefully tomorrow with Tyson De La Cruz. We'll see. I think so. I hope so. Good night, everyone.